सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे। रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमू रामाय तस्मै नमः। रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। श्रीराम जय जय राम ओम। 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 जय जय राम ओम। जय जय राम ओम। बोले सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Hari Om. In the last class, we had seen an introduction to the word Ramayana, to the text Ramayana also, but we had seen two meanings of the word Ramayana. The first meaning was, it is the abode of Bhagwan Rama. So if I have to go to meet somebody, they live in their house, so I have to go to their house. So if I have to meet Bhagwan, the house of Bhagwan is Ramayana. And there I will get to know Bhagwan in both his forms, as Nirguna Nirakara Rupa and also as Saguna Sakara, the one with attributes, same Bhagwan, same consciousness appearing as both. And the second meaning of that was the path to Bhagwan Rama. Ramayana also means that. Which means if I have the question, where should I start? If I want to develop devotion to Lord, devotion to Bhagwan, where should I start? It is said, study Ramcharitmanas, study Ramayana. Then we saw what is the main purpose of studying Ramayana. Goswami Tulsidas Ji, in his own words, he says there are three purposes for which I am composing Ramcharitmanas. First purpose, he says, Swanta Sukhaya Tulasi Raghunatha Gatha. I am singing these glories of Bhagwan Ramchandra ji so that the joy which is manifest, joy which is there in my own heart, may that manifest. My own nature, which is Ananda Swarupa, may I be able to revel in that. Right now, I'm reveling in so many other things outside. Oh Lord, may your grace and blessings be there so that I can turn within now. That is the first purpose. Second, Goswamiji said, Bhasha Baddha Karabi mein soi, More mana prabodha jahi hoi. Means I'm composing this Ramcharit Manas so that my mind may become subtle and also be able to gain this knowledge. Knowledge about absolute truth also, but knowledge also about how I should interact in this world, how I should live my life with strength and also seeking devotion, seeking support from Bhagwan. That is the second one, Prabodhajimi Hoi. More mana Prabodhajimi Hoi. And the last one was Nijagira Pavana Karana Karana Rama Jasa Tulasi Kahyo. Means I'm composing this Ramcharit Manas so that my speech might become pure. Vak Shuddhi it is called. So purify my speech, I'm composing Ramcharit Manas. And what will happen with that is it will in turn purify my mind. Because what is reflected in our speech is exactly that, what is in our mind. So if I study Ramcharit Manas, even do Parayanam of Ramcharit Manas, it has its own power to purify the mind. Okay, so this was what we had seen in the last class. Now we'll look at what is the relevance of Ramcharit Manas in today's times. This text is very popular in North India. It is as though this text forms, the cultural fabric of the society. There are different Ramayans which do that in different parts of India, but Ramcharit Manas in particular does that in northern India. And I have seen even, the auto drivers and so many other people whom you would never expect, they would also quote some chaupais from here, from Ramcharit Manas. And even the vehicles will have some of the chaupais written on the back of the vehicle. It is that popular, means it is in and through the culture of the society. But if you ask the question, what is so special about it? You must have heard the phrase, values cannot be taught, but they are caught, or they must be caught. Okay, values cannot be taught, but they must be caught. The best place for us to catch values is Ramcharit Manas. Just studying the glories of Bhagwan Ramchandra ji and various characters of Ramcharit Manas, we can see what is the epitome of values, how does it manifest here. In the Upanishads, in other Vedantic texts, it will just be mentioned that one person should have Shama, Dama, etc. Okay. But if you study Ramcharit Manas, we get to know what Shama means. What is meant by Vairagya. You look at Lakshmanji, 14 years. He stayed always alert serving Bhagwan Ramchandra ji. What Shama, what Dama, all those characters you will see. I'm just introducing this because what is the relevance of Ramcharit Manas in today's times? If we want to learn or have a society which has values, we need to seek or see those values somewhere. So the best place for seeing those values is Ramcharit Manas. And different episodes are such that the values or the hidden import won't become clear just by reading the text. For that, we'll have to pray to Bhagwan that may you reveal what you want to convey from that. This is what we see in a lot of Mahatmas. They are able to understand so many subtle things, which for us it becomes so difficult. Right? So whenever it comes to certain episodes, certain incidents, so there we should try to dwell on this and say, what is that incident trying to teach us? Okay, so that will be another way that we'll be looking at Ramcharit Manas. Also, third part, the third important thing about Ramcharitmanas is it shows how relationships were in those days, or what is the, I wouldn't say ideal, but what is it that we can aim at? Either it is the relationship between mother and son. Okay, so what is that relationship that was in the society in those days, so that we can learn from it? If you look at Sumitra ji and Lakshman ji, their relationship, when that prasanga comes, we will elaborate more. Relationship between Kausalya ji and Bhagwan Ramchandra ji. Okay, so between mother and son, what is the relationship? Between brothers, how the relationship can be. It is not that there were no differences between them. Between Bhagwan Ramchandra ji, Bharat ji, Lakshman ji and Shatrugna ji, we see several instances where there could have been potential for some kind of misunderstanding. Like when everybody goes to the forest, like Bhagwan Ramchandra ji, when he goes to the forest, when Lakshman ji sees Bharat ji coming with the army, there is a misunderstanding in his mind. He sees Bharat ji is coming with the army as though to attack us. But with Ramchandra ji there, they're able to amicably settle down things and move on with life together. So all these things we'll get to see in Ramcharitmanas. Several relationships, father, son, how many to count? As and when they come, we will see them. Another interesting thing of Ramcharitmanas is, it will show us what is the heart of a devotee. What is the qualification that Bhagwan wants from a devotee? We will meet devotees like Kevat, the boatman. We will meet devotees like Shabriji, and also devotees like Janak Maharaj, who was a king with all royal things around him. But we will see in Ramcharitmanas what was his devotion for Bhagwan. There is an interesting point here, that what does Bhagwan expect as a qualification? There is only one thing, which is we should be seeking Bhagwan. If you see what is common in Kevat, in Shabriji, and in Janak Maharaj, it is all of them sought Bhagwan and Bhagwan alone. And what was the result? If you see what they say after meeting Bhagwan, is now I am content in life. Other things which are there, they might be there or they might not be there. But inner contentment, Krutakrutyata, that has come now. That we see in several devotees of Ramcharitmanas. So you see, in today's times, do we need that or not? Okay, we have so many things around us, but the question is, do we have contentment? Searching it in the wrong place, it will just take longer and longer, but more importantly, we'll never find it there, because it is not there, right? So Ramcharitmanas will give us that insight. Bhagwan is just asking, no matter where you are seated in the world outside, do you have a seat for me in your heart? I will come there. That's why Shabri also Bhagwan blesses, Kevat also, and Janak Maharaj, somebody who is, seated so high. So that is another insight into Ramcharitmanas. Different devotees we will get to meet. There is one thing our Guruji says many a times, that in today's world, and for those who are new, by the way, when I say Puja Guruji, it is Swami Tejomayanandji. And when I say Gurudev, it is Puja Swami Chinmayanandji. Okay. So I know many of you might be new. You might be wondering, who is Guruji, who is Gurudev? So Guruji says, in these times, we are very much used to exercising the body. And also, we give a lot of exercise to intellect through many ways, either through universities and, in our day-to-day routine also, intellect gets used a lot. What gets missed is the mind. And this is the mind which is seeking emotional support. If we don't have Bhagwan as our support for this mind to hold on to, it will hold on to Vishayas, objects outside. Okay, this is something Ramcharitmanas brings in our life. It says, at least for this half an hour that we are having, right? Let the intellect be quiet. Listen to the glories of Bhagwan and just rejoice in them. I remember one saying, it was by a barrister, his name was C.R. Das. He was a very great lawyer. Barrister means lawyer in those days. And not very much believer in Bhagwan and everything. But towards the end of his life, some things happened. He met some Mahatmas. There is one couplet in Hindi. I will say that in Hindi, but then I will translate in English. He says, Chaturai Chetana Sabi Chulhe mein jaave. बस मेरा मन ईश चरणाश्रय पावे. आग लगे आचार विचार के उपचय में, उस प्रभु का विश्वास दृढ़ रहे हृदय में. It's a beautiful couplet. What he says is, I have spent my entire life denying the existence of God, questioning the existence of God. But now a time has come when my mind only wants to be in this, at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Bas mera man ish charanashraya pave. Of that Bhagwan at his lotus feet, may my mind find some rest. Because intellect, no matter how much it tries to give logic and take us here, there, and so on, it can never give us shanti. Okay, so that is a beautiful couplet that I heard once from one Mahatma about this particular person. There's a great devotee after that. So we also should remember Ramcharitmanas will give us that avenue to seek support from Bhagavan. Mind needs that support. If that support is not there, it will seek support from something else, which will not be a stable support. That support, from world how it is. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes goes down. So this mind also starts going up and down. So this was just some relevance of Ramcharitmanas in today's times. Now there is another aspect that I want to take you all to. Once we start with the text, we will flow with the text. Okay, then we won't come to this introduction back again. So now only we will see a few things. You must be familiar with one incident in the life of Bhagwan Ved Vyasji. It is said Bhagwan Ved Vyasji, after he composed lot of Brahma Sutras and lot of compositions on Upanishads, even after composing Mahabharata, there was a sense of discontentment in his heart. It is said at that time, Naradji comes there. And Ved Vyasji asks Naradji, why am I feeling like this? Naradji gives him a very beautiful answer. He says, in all the historical text, you have analyzed or presented Bhagwan's nature merely as a matter of fact. This is how it happened. That is how a historian should be, right? That is the historical perspective. If you read Mahabharata also, very, very impartial presentation of facts. But he says, merely by analyzing raga-dvesha, merely by analyzing qualities of human beings, we will never find that contentment in our heart. So for that contentment, we need to chant glories of Bhagwan. So where Mahabharata ends, as though Bhagavatam begins. So Ved Vyasji himself, with the blessings of Naradji, goes on to compose Bhagavatam. Okay, so this is the story of Mahabharata and Bhagavatam. He says in Mahabharata, it is very hard for us to find Bhagwan Krishna as the main character. It is, it is up to us how we read it, but it's not very easy to find it that way. The Pandavas become the main characters of Mahabharata. But in Bhagavatam, it is very clear. Bhagwan Krishna is the hero. So he says, when you do that, contentment will come in the heart. Now you see, Valmiki Ramayana is from historical standpoint. If you read Valmiki Ramayana, it is very, very vivid description of the facts presented in an impartial manner. Valmiki ji does that. And by the way, it is same Narad ji who inspired Valmiki ji. But it is said, for all of us to benefit, to develop love for Bhagwan, to make Bhagwan as the central point of the teaching, Valmiki ji himself took an avatar in the form of Goswami Tulsidas ji. And then he composed Ramcharitmanas. Vedvyas ji did it in his same birth, but Valmiki ji came back as Goswami Tulsidas ji. This is how the story goes of how Goswami Tulsidas ji happened to compose Tulsi Ramayana. So now we will see a little about Goswami ji's life, because without the author, how can we get into the text, right? So Goswami ji, his name, birth name was Ram Bola. It is said when he was born, instead of crying, the first thing that he said was Rama. That is why he was named Ram Bola by his teacher, whose name was Narahari Ananda. And Tulsidas ji, as he was growing up, he studied all the Shastras. He studied all Puranas. And if you see his Sanskrit, it is so pristine, it is so profound, you can know how great of a scholar he must have been. So he studied everything with his teacher. As he was in young age, he got married to a girl. Her name was Ratnavali. And it so happened that he got drawn into samsara back again. He got so attached to his wife and worldly life, he almost forgot what he had learned. He was so attached to his wife. And Bhagwan is such, whenever he finds his devotees getting attached somewhere, he will make sure that this devotee's mind turns back again to him. Okay, that is his greatness. So one day what happened, Ratnavali, who was in her, who used to live with Tulsidas ji, both of them, her brother came saying that you are needed in the house right now. Father is very sick. You need to come with me right away. And it is said Tulsidas ji at that time had gone somewhere out. He was not there in the house. And without informing Tulsidas ji, Ratnavali decides to go to her father's house. Tulsidas ji, when he comes back, he realizes that he cannot, stay without her even for a night. He was so much attached to her. So he says, now I cannot stay here. I have to go and find where she has gone. And she had left a note, it is said, that I have gone to my father's house. So in the middle of the night, it was pouring so heavily and the river was overflowing. Still, he manages to somehow cross each and every barrier. And also, it is said a snake was hanging from the house. He ends up holding that without even thinking what it is, goes inside and meets her, thinking that she would be very happy to see him at this, middle of the night. But Bhagwan's grace is such, Saraswati Mata, goes and sits in the jivha of that devotee. So Ratnavali says, why are you so attached to me? If you even had half of this attachment that you have towards my body, if you had towards Bhagwan, you would have attained Rama. Your boat across samsara, your boat would have crossed across samsara. Why are you so attached to me? That was the turning point in Tulsidas ji's life. Those few words that he heard were sufficient for him. He said, this is what I wanted. Now I'm going to seek only Rama. And then he goes to Kashi. There all his purva samskaras, whatever previous impressions he had, those were there. They even get strengthened further. And in Kashi, it is said, he first starts composing in Sanskrit. And invariably, all his composition started getting stolen. He would compose during the day, and at the night it would disappear somehow. And he used to wonder, what is happening? So one day in his dream, Lord Shankara, Bhagwan Shankara appears and says, compose in your local language. The purpose of your avatar, purpose of your Janma is fulfilled with this purpose, with this composition of yours in your local language, which is Awadhi. So then he starts composing in Awadhi Bhasha. It's a dialect of, I wouldn't say Hindi, but it's somewhat similar to that. So it's a very beautiful Bhasha. It looks like, effortlessly words are coming out. So Yajnavalkya would become Jagabalika. So all those twists happen in the word so that it is not difficult to pronounce. So like that, Tulsidas ji started giving discourses in Awadhi Bhasha, and many people used to come. He became so popular that other scholars who were there, it is said they started getting jealous of Tulsidas ji. They said, "You are speaking in local language. Is it authentic?" So some scholars said, "Let us take this work to another scholar who at that time was a great saint whom we revere in our Guru Parampara. His name was Madhusudana Saraswati ji. He has written great works in Advaita Vedanta, but also a very great devotee of Lord Krishna. He was there at that time. So all the scholars said he knows Sanskrit also and he is a great devotee. Let him validate Tulsidas ji's work." Madhusudana Saraswati ji read the work and he composed one shloka on Tulsidas ji. It is said, "Ananda Kanane Hyasmin Jangamas Tulasi Taru." What does that mean? Ananda Kanane means in this forest of Kashi, in this forest of Ananda, there is a tree which is moving. Tulsi, it's a play on the words. Tulsi is also a plant, but Tulsi is this Goswamiji, who is moving in this Ananda Kanana. Kavita Manjari Bhati. Kavita Manjari means the bouquet of flowers on this tree is this poetry of Ramcharitmanas. And on this tree, there is a bee, Rama Brahmara Bhushita. This bee is Bhagwan Ramchandraji, who is going everywhere, wherever Tulsidas ji is going. You see, it is flipped other way. Huh? Generally, Bhakta goes after Bhagwan, but Tulsidas ji was so great, Bhagwan Ramchandraji used to come where Tulsidas ji is. Rama Brahmara Bhushita. And Goswamiji also had darshan of Bhagwan Ramchandraji. There are several stories, but one of it is very popular, where it is said in his satsang, Hanumanji used to come and sit. And with Hanumanji's guidance, there is one another couplet, Chitrakoota ke ghat par bhai santana ke bheed, Tulsi das chandan ghise tilaka deta Raghuveer. Means on that Chitrakoot ghat, Hanumanji says, you go and sit there and do this chandanam, that sandalwood paste, and Bhagwan Ramchandraji will come to you and then you apply that. But Tulsidas ji was so involved in that, doing that. First time he misses both of them. Bhagwan Ramchandraji and Lakshmanji come there, but Goswamiji does not see them because he is, in his own Rama Bhakti. So Hanumanji next time reminds him, this is Bhagwan. See Bhagwan right there. And it is said Bhagwan does tilaka through him. Not other way around. Bhagwan does tilaka. Tilaka deta Raghuveer. So that is our Tulsidas ji. Sankshipta Parichay, very brief introduction. But our introduction to authors would not be complete if we don't remember our Puja Guruji. In our Parampara of Chinmay Mission, to introduce Ramcharitmanas, it was Puja Guruji who started this. So from that, several teachers have studied and it has come down. So we seek Puja Guruji's grace and blessings also as we start the study of Tulsi Ramayana. So from next session onwards, we will start with Mangalacharanam Shloka and then continue from there. We'll sing one Nama Sankirtanam. If you can share the lyrics, that would be nice. Aganita Gunagana Bhushita Rama. अगणित गुणगण भूषण राम आश्रित वत्सल जय जय राम अयोध्यवासी सीताराम आपद बांधव जय जय राम दशरथ नंदन श्री राम दशमुख मर्दन जय जय राम कौसल्या सुखवर्धन राम कामित फलदा जय जय राम पाप विमोचन श्री राम पट्टाभिराम जय जय राम जानकी वल्लभ सीताराम जय रघुराम जय सीताराम वानर सेवित श्री राम वारिधि वंदन जय जय राम हनुमत पूजित सीताराम श्री राम जय जय राम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावना सीताराम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।